The movie starts with a man walking around in a house. He enters a room and sees a couple. The girl doesn't look her best. She apologizes. And then a gunshot rings out and the scene ends. This all happens in the first minute of the movie. Apparently, the film will be tense. The next scene introduces us to the main character. His name is Tom Jacobs. His wife's name is Abby, and it looks like he hasn't seen her in a long time because he is a prisoner in the prison he created for himself. Promising start, right? Tom, apparently, has a very smart house as it can move its occupant to another place. True, in the next scene, we understand that the movement occurs only within the memories. But that's not bad either, because we all have memories that we would like to return to, right? Tom recalls telling his pregnant wife that he got a good business offer and gave her a pearl necklace. From the dialogue in the subsequent business meeting, we understand that Tom has developed some devices that can work with memories, and his partner managed to find a potential buyer. But you need to prove the operability of the device. And there is one problem. The buyer wants the device to help get into the memories of another person, and Tom developed it only so that people could restore some moments of their lives in their memory. But financial problems and the promised reward do their job. Tom wants to accept the offer. His wife finds this unethical and they fight at home. Tom agrees and receives the first large envelope with money from a mysterious customer. He and his team begin to finalize their project. They need to visualize a place that will be an intermediate stage for those who fall into other people's memories. As such a place, they choose Tom's house, in which he has just begun to equip a children's room. The team also hires an actress to give their device a voice. They are also developing the extractor, a device that can get out of other people's memories, and a backup method for self-destructing the system in case the extractor does not work. From the following scenes, we learn that Tom is stuck in some guy's memory for 4 years while his physical body is in a coma in the hospital. His wife, meanwhile, brings to the hospital his daughter, whom he has not seen for 4 years. Their mysterious client demanded that the device be tested a month and a half ahead of schedule when not everything was ready for testing. Tom's colleague convinces him that it's too early and they're taking a big risk. But Tom has no choice. He cannot lose a potential buyer. Already during the meeting, it turns out that Tom's client is a representative of the prison system. They need to get into the memories of one of the criminals to understand whether he really killed his girlfriend. Tom is outraged, as this does not match the previously agreed conditions. He is ready to give up everything, but one argument changes the situation. He is reminded of his family. Indeed, when you have a pregnant wife and financial problems, you can go to great lengths for the sake of the family. Tom stays. He is introduced to his test subject. This is a young drug addict who is suspected of killing his girlfriend. Due to memory lapses, he cannot say for sure whether he did it. The young criminal is not against participating in the experiment, because it gives him a chance for an excuse. But he warns Tom that diving into his memories is an unpleasant journey. Tom injects him with a sedative, gets acquainted with the materials of his case, and begins the experiment. We are immersed in the memory of the perpetrator, while observers of the experiment can see this memory on the laptop screen. Damn, this is genuinely an incredible invention. The perpetrator, Anthony, receives a text message from his girlfriend. She says that they can no longer be together. He's stoned and immediately goes home to his girlfriend, Adriana. Tom follows him. Then everything is like in the opening scene of the film. Anthony discovers Adriana. She tries to hide from him and then asks for forgiveness. Anthony raises his gun and shoots the girl in the head. Tom is shocked by what he sees, but the task is done, and he confirms that Anthony is indeed the killer. It's time to get out of the memories, but something goes wrong. Instead of waking up in reality, he disappears from Anthony's memories, only to find himself back at a waypoint, copied from his own home. This is repeated a few more times. Then Tom gives the command to perform self-destruction. But that doesn't help either. The liquidation procedure is completed, Anthony woke up, but Tom remained unconscious. In the next scene, we see Anthony in jail. He suffers from nightmares. His father came to visit. He is very disappointed in his son, although he tries to support him. They fight over Anthony's drug addiction. The guy leaves, taking the old photographs that his father brought. Tom is then transported into Anthony's childhood memory. The father is fixing the car, and the boy himself is trying to train the dog. Tom is present in this memory more than 100 times. But suddenly something amazing happens. The boy, Anthony, notices Tom. He turns around and looks at him as if he sees him. Tom repeats the memory a few more times, trying to get the boy's attention again, but fails. Through an experiment, he manages to understand that Anthony saw him because he was thinking about his memory of a dog when Tom was in this memory. This gives the protagonist a tiny chance to at least let his family know that he is still alive. With the help of the device, Tom calculates which memory Anthony returns to most often and is transported there himself. The memory is not pleasant. If I did this, I would also go back to this moment mentally for years, burning with shame. Anthony and a friend, wearing masks, attack their father. Even worse, the attack fails, and the father finds out who is hiding under the mask. Terrible, right? Anthony runs away. Tom runs after him but does not catch up. Now, he will have to stay in this memory until Anthony returns to it again. Tom has been waiting for 2 weeks. During this time, Anthony repeatedly flashes back, but he does not see Tom. Until at one point he stops, looking at the intruder in his memories. Tom tries to talk to him, but Anthony yells enough and runs away. Again, you have to wait. Finally, Anthony arrives and they manage to talk. Tom convinces Anthony that the only way for Anthony to get rid of the visitor in his head is to help Tom contact his family and partner. In the 4 years he spent in the mental prison, he managed to figure out what went wrong in their experiment, and now he knows how to get out. But he must be helped. Anthony agrees. Anthony calls Tom's wife Abby, but the first attempt fails. But Anthony doesn't give up. Tom prepared him well. He tells Abby things that only Tom could know. The woman agrees to a meeting. She comes to Anthony's prison and brings her daughter with her. Learning that Tom can see everything Anthony sees, she shows the criminal her daughter so that her husband can see how his child has grown. This is a very touching scene. Abby receives instructions from her husband on how to extract him from Anthony's mind. Now she and Tom's former partner have to somehow get Anthony out of prison to remove the stuck chip from his head. Tom's former potential client agrees to help, on the condition that he gets all the rights to the device. Abby readily agrees. While preparations are underway, Tom and Anthony are talking. Anthony asks to be transported to another memory. He does not like to meet at the moment where he attacks his father. He chooses another, where he and his girlfriend are relaxing by the pool. He seems to love her very much. Tom says that he dreamed of using his device to change lives for the better and help people deal with their psychological problems. But then he decided to make money on it, and now he regrets it very much. Anthony calls his father and informs him that he will be taken the next day to remove the chip. They fight again. The father is against any agreements to cooperate with the police and again scolds his son. Anthony is brought to the ranch. Tom's partner finds a chip in his neck using a scanner. Everyone prepares for the operation, but Anthony sets his condition. He believes he didn't kill his girlfriend and wants Tom to help him prove it. He is sure that someone else was in her house that night and he needs to extract this memory from his memory. Tom does not believe in Anthony's innocence, but agrees to try. He has no other choice anyway. Anthony tells him the story of their relationship with Adriana. At first, they had fun together, and he hooked her on drugs. Then he fell in love, began to use less, and began to look for a way to help his girlfriend. But she could no longer give up drugs and left him. And we know the further story. Anthony came to her house, and it all ended with the death of Adriana. Anthony insists that he saw someone else that night, and Tom begins to unravel his memories. Indeed, it turns out that on the night of Adriana's murder, someone attacked Anthony in her apartment, but he can't remember the attacker's face. Then Tom suggests tricks that help revive the memory. Gradually, the girl's apartment acquires new details. This eventually helps Anthony remember his attacker. It turns out to be his friend, with whom they once almost robbed Anthony's father. Could this be the real killer of Adriana? But Tom doesn't believe it. He saw with his own eyes that Anthony shot his girlfriend. Now Tom insists that Anthony release him. But in the real world, Anthony has a different plan. He attacks Tom's partner, frees himself from handcuffs, steals a pistol from a policeman, and escapes. Hey man, we didn't agree like that, but the recent discovery has changed the young man's plans. He goes to his friend. Former friend, to be precise. He finds out unpleasant details. It turns out that Adriana, having broken off relations with him, met with his friend for the sake of drugs. It must be painful to hear that about your loved one. But this does not change the situation in any way. Anthony's former friend, even at gunpoint, swears that he did not kill the girl, but found her already dead. Perhaps Adriana told about her betrayal, and Anthony still killed her. While Anthony is shocked by the information received, Another man appears from another room and points a gun at him. Anthony gives his friend his weapon, and he shoots him in the stomach. Hey, what the hell? If Anthony dies, will Tom die too? A fight ensues, and an injured Anthony tries to catch up with his friend, but finds a Bible in his pocket. And realizing that he will die soon, he decides to spend the last minutes of his life helping Tom get out. Good decision. He comes to Abby. They prepare everything necessary to extract Tom, but problems start again. Tom disappeared from the memory about a pool. Anthony doesn't know where to look for him. He's almost dying, seconds count. Fortunately, at the last moment, he guesses where Tom would like to go, in the only memory where he could see his grown daughter. They meet in Anthony's memory and finally, Tom is free. Anthony dies and Tom wakes up. But one question remains unresolved. Did Anthony kill his girlfriend? Tom comes to Anthony's father's house. They share memories of the young man, and Tom finds out an interesting detail. It turns out that Anthony remembers his dog as completely clueless, although in fact, it was a smart show dog, and all just because the boy's father said that the dog was stupid. The authority of his father made Anthony believe this to such an extent that even his memories of the dog became distorted. It turns out that Anthony was easily suggestible, and during police interrogations, when he was repeatedly told that he killed his girlfriend, he could believe it to such an extent that his memories changed. Tom replays Anthony's memories in his head and comes to the only correct conclusion. Adriana killed herself in front of Anthony. He also figures out that it was Anthony's father who turned him into the police. He at first tries to deny it, but then confesses that he betrayed his son out of good intentions, since he considered this the only opportunity for him to quit drugs. Weird parenting, right? In the final scene, Tom is in a bar watching the news about the progress of his former project at the hands of the police. After watching the film, I can recommend it to those who are looking for an exciting movie for the evening. The film is very dynamic, the plot does not sag anywhere, and it does not lose your attention for a minute. Thanks for watching another Essential Movie Recap. Please like and subscribe.